Perhaps you've witnessed the incredible performance put on by the national rugby side this year in the RBS Six Nations. Perhaps you also like to keep in touch with the local Aberdeen Football Club throughout the season. What you may have noticed is that both teams appear to do better when they play at their own home ground. Now this phenomenon of winning at home actually has a name. You may have heard of it as something called the home advantage. Now the home advantage is scientifically proven as well. It simply states that a team that plays at home is more likely to win than when it plays away. Now this is in professional teams and also local teams like the one behind me. I have the University of Aberdeen men's and women lacrosse. Both of these teams experience more wins at home than they did away. What we like to look at and what would be nice to understand is if there's any biology or scientific reasoning behind it. In a study called Testosterone, Territoriality and the Home Advantage, Nick News and Sandy Wilson demonstrated just that. But first, we probably need some background on why they did. The home advantage has actually been studied before. In fact, several factors have been proposed to account for this effect. One view is that the home crowd encourages and inspires the home team to play well. Another is that home referees are likely to be biased. A third explanation relates to familiarity with the home venue. And a fourth explanation is that travel fatigue can impact upon away games. The one explanation that hasn't received much attention is that of territoriality. Territoriality is prevalent amongst many species of animal. In fact, several studies have shown a home advantage for an animal when its territory is threatened or attacked. These studies suggest that testosterone levels also correlate with aggressive behaviour or dominating behaviour. But what about humans? There is evidence suggesting that testosterone is linked to dominance and activation, and this comes in the form of winning sports competitors from basketball, tennis and judo. In a non-sporting context, there is also evidence to suggest that humans who feel as if they're in a home territory display more dominance and more activation. Recent studies haven't attempted to ascertain the link between territoriality and that home advantage. However, if testosterone is linked with dominance and aggression, and if humans tend to fight harder when defending their home territory, then perhaps one could expect to see testosterone level changes depending on whether a sports competitor is playing at home or away. In this investigation, the study aimed to determine if there were testosterone level changes in football competitors dependent on their match venue. They also aimed to see if there was any sort of link between the mood of the sports competitor and their testosterone levels. The scientists predicted that the football competitors that played at home would experience higher levels of testosterone compared to when they played away. So how did the scientists do it? Well, the sample consisted of 17 male football players from a non-professional league. The scientists met with these players 1 hour before both of their games in the changing room. This was carried out at the home venue, and it was also carried out at the away venue, approximately 65 miles from their home ground. The players were given sugarless chewing gum and a labelled cup and asked to provide 5 millilitres of saliva, which would be frozen for later work in the laboratory. They were also asked to fill out a mood questionnaire to describe how they were feeling before the match. The saliva was tested back at the lab for concentrations of testosterone using a gamma counter capable of measuring the radiation emitted by the hormone. So what were the results? Well, the study did indicate that salivary testosterone levels in male football players did vary depending on their match venue. In fact, the levels were significantly higher before a home game than that of an away game. The self-reported mood ratings or questionnaires that were taken in the study didn't relate to any physiological changes before home games or away games in the competitors. Due to the fact that the coach had access to these questionnaires, it's very possible that they actually tried to disguise their own feelings, making this part of the investigation unreliable. The investigation was carried out a second time, only in this study there was a greater sample number. The players also had to indicate the extent of their rivalrous feelings towards the opposing team. We can see from the graph that whilst testosterone levels were still consistently higher before the home games compared to the away games, levels were even higher when the opponents were perceived as being extreme rivals. From these results, scientists predicted that some of the popular explanations for the home advantage could be at least partly eliminated. The games didn't attract large noisy crowds, and there wasn't much referee bias. What's more is the distance travel to the away venues was relatively small, so routines were hardly disrupted.
So now that we've seen the results, we have the opportunity to critically assess this study. What I mean by that is that we have the opportunity to say what we thought was good, and most importantly, what we thought could have been improved. Now in this investigation, scientists only set out to look at testosterone and its effects on territoriality and the home advantage. As in much of science, there are a whole host of other variables. Now, in the human body, we've got a lot of different hormones such as ACTH, which has been linked with stress response and aggression. We've got other hormones such as corticosterone, which has been associated with submission. This study didn't take into account the effects of these other hormones on that home advantage, and this reduces the reliability of the overall investigation. What's more is that this investigation only took place looking at football players, so it's impossible to refer these results onto other sports.
So what's the main take-home message? Well, this study did indicate a possible link between testosterone and perceived territoriality associated with home venue matches. Although it appears as though testosterone and territoriality are associated, the precise mechanisms responsible and the extent to which it is remains very much unclear.
See, next time you go to watch your local football club and they're playing at home, now that you know the evolution and the biology behind it, you may see them more as warriors, attempting to defend their home territory. Oh! On my head, John!